Hello everyone. Flower consists of four whorls. First is calyx, second one corolla, third one androecium, fourth one gynoecium. So flower consists of how many whorls? Four whorls: calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. So calyx consists of sepals. Sepals are the green colored very small needle-like structures or a leaf-like structure, so that it gives protection to the flower when it is in young condition or a bud condition. So the sepals are collectively known as calyx. And then coming to the corolla, corolla consists of brightly colored units are said to be petals. Petals which attracts insects for pollination, and these two whorls together is said to be non-essential whorls because these two does not take part in sexual reproduction. Now coming to the third whorl of a flower consists of stamens. Male reproductive units are said to be stamens, and then gynoecium, it is an innermost whorl of a flower, consists of female reproductive units are said to be carpels. So stamens are male reproductive units, carpels are female reproductive units. These two together is said to be essential whorls because these two mainly take part in sexual reproduction. So the flower consists of calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Then coming to the next is, if a flower consists of all these whorls, that means calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, then the flower is said to be complete. Complete flower. Flower consists of all the four whorls, then it is said to be complete. If the flower consists of three whorls or one whorl is missing, then it is said to be, what do you call? Incomplete. So there are two types of flower. Flower consists of calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, then it is complete. Flower consists of three whorls or any one, mainly these two, either of these two, so that it contains androecium or maybe it contains gynoecium, then the flower is said to be, what do you call? Incomplete flower. Like that, the flower consists of both the reproductive structure, both androecium and gynoecium, then the flower is said to be bisexual flower. So the flower consists of both androecium and gynoecium, both stamens and carpels, then it is said to be, what do you call? Complete flower. Flower consists of androecium and gynoecium, then it is said to be bisexual flower. Flower consists of either androecium or gynoecium, so that then it is said to be, what do you call? Unisexual flower. So flower consists of either androecium or gynoecium, then it is said to be unisexual. So that this complete flower are usually said to be bisexual flower, so that it contains all the whorls. And incomplete flower is said to be unisexual because it contains either androecium or the gynoecium. So this is about the flower. Flower consists of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Next, calyx, it is the first whorl of a flower, consists of units known as sepals. Now, if the sepals are free, then it is said to be polysepalous. Poly refers to free. Sepalous refers to sepals. If the sepals are free, polysepalous. If the sepals are fused, then it is gamosepalous. If the sepals are free, polysepalous. If the sepals are fused, gamocephalous. Gamo refers to fused. Sepalous refers to sepals. Like that, corolla consists of petals. If the petals are free, then it is said to be polypetalous. Same thing, polypetalous. If the sepals are fused, then it is said to be gamopetalous. So, calyx consists of sepals. Sepals are free, then it is polysepalous. Sepals are fused, then it is gamocephalous. Corolla consists of petals. If the petals are free, polypetalous. If the petals are fused, gamopetalous. Now coming to the next is, if the calyx and corolla or the sepals or petals arranged in a flower, that is said to be, what do you call? Aestivation. So this is very, very important. Aestivation. What is aestivation? Arrangement of both sepals and petals in a flower is said to be aestivation. How these petals or the sepals that are arranged in a flower, that is said to be, what do you call? Aestivation. Coming to the types of aestivation, first one, valvate aestivation. Second one, twisted aestivation. Third one, imbricate aestivation. Valvate, twisted, imbricate aestivation. Now coming to the first is the valvate aestivation. Here, like this. So now, valvate aestivation means these are the petals or sepals. It is applicable to both petals or sepals. So valvate means if a petal or a sepal, imagine this is a petal or a sepal, it has two margins like this. This is one petal, this is next petal, this is next one, and like that. If a petal consists of two margins. So now the margins of the petal comes in contact with each other without any overlapping, and like this. This is the overlapping structure. This overlapping structure is completely absent. That is said to be, what do you call? Valvate aestivation. So what is meant by valvate? If the margins of the sepals or a petals comes in contact like this without overlapping, then it is said to be, what do you call? Valvate aestivation. So the margins of the petals comes in contact with each other without any overlapping, then it is said to be valvate aestivation. And the best example is Annona. ಸೀತಾಫಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. Annona is said to be ಸೀತಾಫಲ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ you can see there is a presence of valvate aestivation. Now coming to the twisted aestivation. So now you can see there is a presence of overlapping, so that it overlaps regularly. So now look here. In this case what happens? this is the one margin and this is the another margin of the same petal or a sepal. So one margin is inside and one margin is outside. Again see, this is inside, this is outside. This is in and this is out. This is in and this is out. This is in and this is out. This type of arrangement is said to be, what do you call? Twisted aestivation. That means here the margins of the petals or sepals, it overlaps regularly so that one margin is inside, one margin is outside. Therefore it is said to be twisted. Here there is no overlapping. These two petals or sepals comes in contact with each other without any overlapping. Here it overlaps regularly so that one margin is inside and one margin is outside. Such arrangement is said to be twisted arrangement or aestivation. It is seen in hibiscus. Daswala ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದೀವಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ it is said to be, what do you call? Twisted aestivation. So it overlaps regularly. Coming to the last one, here imbricate means it overlaps irregularly. Here it overlaps regularly so that one margin is in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out condition. So that it overlaps regularly, therefore it is said to be twisted. If it is overlaps irregularly, then it is said to be imbricate. Coming to the first one, ascending imbricate. Last is descending imbricate. This is also known as vexillary. So, coming to the first is ascending imbricate. This is completely inside and this is completely outside and the remaining are overlapping. So now descending imbricate or imbricate means it overlaps irregularly. So there are two types, ascending and descending. Ascending means, imagine here this petal is completely outside and this is completely inside. You can see the two margins are inside and the remaining three are said to be in and out, in and out, in and out condition. Such arrangement is said to be ascending imbricate. I repeat, ascending imbricate means this is the posterior petal and these are the anterior petal. For example, ಈಗ ನಾ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೀಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಹತ್ತಿರವಾಗಿದೆ, this is said to be anterior and this is said to be posterior. Like that, these petals or sepals are said to be anterior and this is said to be posterior. Here what happens? Posterior petal is completely inside. Two margins are inside. One of the anterior petal is completely outside and the remaining three are overlapping. Then it is said to be ascending imbricate aestivation. It is seen in cassia. And then coming to the last one is descending imbricate. So here this is the posterior petal completely outside and the two anterior petals are like this. So posterior petal is completely outside, two anterior petals are completely inside and the remaining two petals, very small petals, are in and out, in and out. Such condition is said to be descending imbricate. It is also known as vexillary. So it is seen in P. ಕ್ರೋಟಲೇರಿಯಾ. ಬಟಾಣಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಕ್ರೋಟಲೇರಿಯಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಸವನ ಪಾದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಸವನ ಪಾದನ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. that is said to be crotalaria. So what is meant by imbricate aestivation? If the petals or sepals overlaps irregularly, then it is said to be imbricate. There are two types, ascending and descending. Ascending imbricate aestivation means posterior petal is inside, anterior petal is completely outside, and the remaining three are overlapping. Descending imbricate means posterior petal is completely outside, two anterior petals are completely inside, and the remaining two are overlapping. So this is very, very important for the examination. Aestivation and different types of aestivation with diagram and examples. So I repeat, aestivation, arrangement of both sepals and petals in a flower. Valvate, twisted, imbricate. There are three types. Valvate means the margins are come close to each other without overlapping. Twisted means here it overlaps, the margins overlaps regularly so that one margin is in, out, in and out, in and out, in and out condition. Imbricate means it overlaps irregularly, then it is said to be imbricate. Ascending means posterior petal is inside, anterior petal is outside, and the remaining three are overlapping. Descending means posterior petal is outside and two anterior petals are inside, and the remaining two are overlapping. Next, we'll move on to androecium. Next is androecium. It is the third whorl of a flower, consists of male reproductive structures are said to be, what do you call, stamen. So, parts of a stamen. Stamen consists of only three parts. Elongated part, a stalk-like region, cylindrical structure, and this is said to be filament. And the terminal region, these two are a knob-like structures are said to be anthers. And then between the anthers and the filament, there is a presence of a tissue that is said to be connective. So totally how many parts? Three parts. First is the filament. It is an elongated, cylindrical, stalk-like structure is the filament, and the terminal region, this part is said to be, what do you call? These two are a elongated, knob-like structure, and these two are said to be anthers, and then between the anthers and the filament there is a presence of a tissue that is said to be connective tissue, so that it connects anther to the filament. So now, function of this anthers is to produce pollen grains. So the function of the anthers is to produce pollen grains. So these anthers has a capacity to produce pollen grains. That type of a stamen is said to be fertile stamen. Fertile stamen, commonly known as staminate. Staminate means fertile stamen. That means anthers has a capacity to produce pollen grains. In some cases what happens? Sterile stamen. It does not has a capacity to produce pollen grains. Then it is said to be sterile stamen. That is said to be staminode. See the spelling. Staminate. Staminode. N-A-T-E-N-O-D-E. Staminate means fertile. Staminode means sterile. Staminate means fertile stamen, so that the stamen has a capacity to produce or synthesize pollen grains. Sterile means it does not has a capacity to produce or synthesize pollen grains. That is said to be staminate, staminode, fertile and then sterile. Then coming to the next is epipetalous. Epi, above, petalous, petals. That means stamens are attached to the petal. Stamens are attached to the petal, then it is said to be epipetalous. So what is meant by epipetalous? Stamens are attached to the petals, then it is said to be epipetalous. It is seen in, example is datura. ಕೊಳವೆ ಹೂವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಬಿಳಿ ಕಲರ್ ಉದ್ದವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೊಳವೆ ಹೂವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ datura. In this case what happens, you can see all the stamens are get attached to the petals. Now coming to the second one, epiphyllous. Epi, above, phyllous, leaf like structure. In the previous session we already discussed about this. That is nothing but if the calyx and corolla or look alike, then the whorl is said to be, what do you call, perianth. And the perianth consists of units known as tepals. Now epiphyllous means stamens are attached to the tepals. If the stamens are attached to the tepals, then it is said to be epiphyllous. It is seen in coconut. So it is seen in coconut. Epipetalous, stamens are attached to the petals. Epiphyllous, stamens are attached to the tepals. Tepals are nothing but units of perianth. It is present only in case of monocot. Next is polyandrous. Poly, it includes many and also free. Androus, andricium or stamens. If the stamens are free, then it is said to be, what do you call, polyandrous. That means free stamens. Free stamens are said to be polyandrous. Example, corchorus, white jute ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಣಬು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Here what happens, polyandrous means the stamens are free from one another. ಯಾವುದು ಸಹ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. Then it is said to be, what do you call, polyandrous. It is seen in corchorus. That means it is nothing but white jute ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಣಬು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Now coming to the next is, if here the stamens which are free from one another, in some cases what happens, all the stamens which are fused to form bundles, then it is said to be, what do you call, adelphi. So first is the monadelphous. Monadelphous. Mono refers to single, adelphi refers to bundle. So in this case what happens like this, all the stamens that are fused, to form a single bundle, therefore it is said to be monadelphous. It is seen in hibiscus. Hibiscus there is a presence of monadelphous condition, many stamens which are fused to form only one bundle. In some cases, diadelphous. As the name itself indicates, diadelphous. Di refers to two. Like this. All the stamens which are fused to form only two bundles. It is seen in P. Botany. Last is polyadelphous. Poly refers to many. More than two bundles. All the stamens which are fused to form more than two bundles, therefore it is said to be polyadelphous. It is seen in citrus. Nimbe gida nodidivi, orange nodidivi. This all comes under polyadelphous. So this is about the monadelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous. Mono refers to single bundle. All the stamens which are fused to form only one bundle. Diadelphous, all the stamens which are fused to form two bundles. Polyadelphous, all the stamens which are fused to form more than two bundles. So if the stamens are free from one another, then it is said to be polyandrous. In case of salvia, the length of the stamens always varies. So in case of salvia, the length of the stamen always varies. ಎಲ್ಲದು ಒಂದೇ height ಇರಲ್ಲ, ವೇರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? It is present only in case of salvia. So this is about the androecium. I repeat, androecium, it is the third whole of a flower. Consists of male reproductive units are said to be stamens. Each stamen consists of the terminal elongated part that is said to be, or a knob-like structure is said to be anthers, and the elongated cylindrical part that is said to be filament. Between these two there is a presence of connective. One more important point here. Like this, there is a presence of two anther lobes. If there is a presence of two anther lobes, then it is said to be dithecous anther. Di refers to two, thecous refers to lobes. Two anther lobes, then it is said to be dithecous. In some cases, what happens? There is a presence of only one anther lobe, then it is said to be monothecous. Presence of only one anther lobe, then it is monothecous. Presence of two anther lobe, then it is said to be dithecous. Dithecous present in almost all the flowers. Monothecous, that is present in hibiscus. ದಾಸವಾಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. There is a presence of only one anther lobe. Then coming to the next is fertile stamen, sterile stamen, staminate and staminode. Very, very important. Staminode is said to be sterile, staminate is said to be fertile. And then coming to the next is the epipetalous. If the stamens are attached to the petals, if the stamens are attached to the tepals, then it is epiphyllous. And then polyandrous means here the stamens are free from one another, then it is said to be polyandrous. All the stamens which are fused to form a bundle, that is said to be adelphous. If there is a presence of only one bundle, then it is monadelphous. Presence of two bundles, then it is diadelphous. Presence of more than two bundles, then it is said to be polyadelphous. So that this completes androecium. Next is gynoecium. Gynoecium is also known as pistil. Gynoecium, it is an innermost whorl of a flower or a fourth whorl of a flower, consists of female reproductive structures are said to be carpels. So that it contains number of carpels, maybe single carpel or more than one carpel. Now, parts of a carpel. Parts of a carpel. So now this is the thalamus, and here this is the carpel. So carpel consists of three parts. This is the basal part, and it is a box-like structure, and this is said to be ovary, which contains ovules, and an elongated part, this is said to be style, and the terminal sticky part, this is said to be stigma. So carpel consists of ovary. It is a box-like structure. Inside the ovary there is a presence of ovules, and an elongated part is the style, and the terminal sticky knob-like structure is said to be stigma. So inside the ovary here there is a presence of a fertile tissue that is said to be placenta, to which there will be an attachment of these ovules. So here also the gynoecium is composed of only one carpel, then it is said to be monocarpellary. If there is a presence of only one carpel, if there is a presence of two carpels, then it is said to be dicarpellary or bicarpellary. If there is a presence of three carpels, tricarpellary. Like that, four carpels, tetracarpellary. So more than 5 or a 6, then it is said to be polycarpellary. As the name itself indicates, mono, single, bi or di, then it is said to be 2, tri, 3, tetra, 4, 5, penta, like that. More than 5, then it is said to be polycarpellary. Now, if the gynoecium is composed of many carpels, and the carpels which are fused, then it is said to be syncarpous. That is fused carpels. All the carpels which are fused. Then it is apocarpous. Carpels are free here. Free carpels are said to be apocarpous. Apo, free, syn, fused. Understood? So syncarpous means the carpels which are fused. Apocarpous means carpels which are free. So best example for syncarpous is hibiscus. Apocarpous is Michelia. Michelia, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸಂಪಿಗೆ ಹೂವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ಮೈಕೇಲಿಯಾ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಅನೋನಾ, ಕಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಆಪಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೀತಾಫಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. These two are the best example for apocarpous, and syncarpous, that is hibiscus, is the best example. So this is about the basic concept. Parts of a carpel consist of basal box-like structure is the ovary, which contains ovules, and an elongated style, and then the terminal stigma, and then based on the number of carpels there are different types: monocarpellary, bicarpellary or dicarpellary, tri, tetra, polycarpellary. If the gynoecium is made up of more than one carpel and all the carpel which are fused, then it is syncarpous. If the carpels are free, then it is said to be apocarpous. So here, function of this ovary is to produce ovules. Then it is said to be, what do you call? Fertile. Fertile carpel. If the ovary does not produce ovules, then it is said to be sterile. Sterile carpel. Sterile carpel is said to be pistillode. This is pistillate. See the difference. Pistillode, pistillate. In that case also, staminode, staminate. Pistillode, pistillate. Sterile means pistillode, fertile means pistillate. Next, we'll move on to placentation. Gynoecium consists of carpels. Carpel consists of ovary, style and stigma. Inside the ovary there is a presence of ovules. So now placentation means arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. That is said to be what do you call placentation. So arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. So imagine here this is the ovary part, and here when we take the cross section like this, transverse section like this and observe under the microscope, you can see there is a presence of arrangement of ovules. That is nothing but placentation. So what is meant by placentation? Arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. Coming to the types of placentation, first one is marginal. Marginal placentation. So here, all the ovules are attached to the ventral margin of the ovary like this. These are the ovules. Ovules are attached to the ventral margin of the ovary, then it is said to be marginal placentation. It is seen in P, batani. ಬಟಾಣಿನ ನಾವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಕಾಳನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈಗ ಸುಲಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೀಡ್ಸು ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ಓವ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಸೀಡ್ಸ್. So what is meant by marginal placentation? Ovules are attached to the ventral margin of the ovary, then it is said to be marginal placentation. Now coming to the second one is axile. Axile placentation. Here, the ovules are present in the central axis of the ovary with the septa. Andre, here the gynoecium is made up of many carpels, and all the carpels which are fused, therefore it is said to be syncarpous. And here syncarpous ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಪ್ಟಾ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಸೆಪ್ಟಾ. ಸೆಪ್ಟಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಲ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಲ್, ಥರ್ಡ್, ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಿಫ್ತ್, ಆಲ್ ದ 5 ಕಾರ್ಪಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. ದ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಸೆಪ್ಟಾ. So here axial placentation means all the ovules are present in the central axis with the septa. Therefore it is said to be axial placentation. It is seen in citrus. ನಿಂಬೆ ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ನಾವೀಗ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಆಲ್ ದ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಪ್ಟಾ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್. ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್, parietal. Parietal placentation. Here, ovules are attached towards the periphery, or the ovules are attached to the fused margin of the carpel. Ovules are attached to the periphery, under surrounding, or ovules are attached to the fused margin. ಈ ಎರಡು ಕಾರ್ಪಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. So these 2 carpels fused here, these 2 carpel fused here. That fused region you can see there is a presence of ovules. That type is said to be parietal. So what is meant by parietal? The ovules are attached to the fused margin of the carpel, therefore it is said to be parietal. Placentation, it is seen in cucumber. ಸೌತೆಕಾಯಿನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, fused margins ಅಲ್ಲಿ there will be an attachment of ovules, then it is said to be parietal. Coming to the next one, fourth one, free central. As the name itself indicates, free central, that means ovules are present in the central axis without septa. See the difference? Here with the septa, here without the septa. Best example is primrose. In this case, what happens? There is a presence of ovules, and ovules are present in the central axis without any septa. Coming to the last one, basal placentation. As the name itself indicates, basal, presence of only one ovule at the base of the ovary. Here, in these cases, what happens? The number of ovules always varies, but in this case, basal placentation, there is a presence of single ovule that is attached to the base of the ovary. It is seen in sunflower. So this is about the placentation, arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. So there are 5 different types of placentation. Marginal means ovules are present on the ventral side of the ovary or ventral margin of the ovary. Axial means ovules are attached to the central axis with the septa. Parietal means ovules are present or attached towards the periphery or fused margin of the carpel. And here free central means ovules are attached to the central axis without septa. Basal means single ovule is attached at the base of the ovary. So that this completes flower. Flower consists of 4 whorls, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Calyx consists of sepals, corolla consists of petals, and if the sepals are free from one another, polysepalous. If the sepals are fused, gamosepalous, like that. If the petals are free, polypetalous. Petals are fused, gamopetalous. Then coming to the estivation, arrangement of sepals or petals. Idu eradakku anvayisutte, ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಅನ್ವಯಿಸುತ್ತೆ estivation. So that arrangement of both sepals and petals in a flower, that is said to be, what do you call? Estivation. Valvate, without overlapping. Twisted, it overlaps regularly so that one margin is in and one margin is out. And if the sepals or petals overlaps irregularly, then it is said to be imbricate. There are 2 types, ascending, descending. Ascending means posterior petal is inside and descending means posterior petal is outside. You have to remember these 2 important hints. And then coming to the next is an androecium. Androecium consists of male reproductive structures are said to be, what do you call? Stamen. Each stamen consists of filament, anthers and connective. The function of the anthers is to produce pollen grains. Then it is said to be fertile. So fertile stamen is said to be staminate and the sterile is said to be staminode. And then if the stamens are attached to the petal, epipetalous. If the stamens are attached to the tepals, epiphyllous. If the stamens are free, polyandrous. And if the stamens are fused to form bundle, then it is adelphi. Monadelphi, diadelphi, polyadelphi. And then coming to the next is the gynoecium. Gynoecium consists of female reproductive structures are said to be carpel. Each carpel consists of ovary which contains ovules. Inside the ovary there is a presence of a fertile tissue that is said to be placenta which produces ovules so that it gets attached or the ovules get attached to the placenta, and elongated part is the style, terminal part is said to be stigma. Here also fertile pistil, sterile pistil. And then coming to the next, if the gynoecium is composed of more than one carpels and all the carpels are fused, then it is said to be syncarpous. If the carpels are free, then it is said to be apocarpous. Apo refers to free, syn refers to fused. And then coming to the next is the placentation, very important. Here arrangement of ovules inside the ovary. Marginal means the ovules are present on the ventral margin of the ovary. Axial means ovules are present in the central axis with the septa. Parietal means ovules are present towards the periphery or fused margin of the carpel. Free central means ovules are attached to the central axis without septa, and the basal means presence of single ovule that is attached to the base of the ovary. A flower consists of both androecium, gynoecium, then it is said to be bisexual flower, and if the flower consists of either androecium or gynoecium, then it is said to be unisexual. So the flower consists of all the four whorls, complete flower, and the flower consists of either gynoecium or androecium, then it is said to be incomplete flower. I hope you understood this session. Thank you.